That 1 week is very important because in that 1 week, if the chicks are not properly taken care of, most of the organs will not develop. So if you do not take a lot of care in this first week, your chickens will not come out very well.
My name is Samuel Chisatchi. I am the founder of Chisatchi Farmhouse Limited. It is located in Wakiso Town Council in Wakiso District. We are in the business of rearing broiler birds, specifically for meat. We have been here since 2012 and we are agripreneurs.
At Chisatchi Farmhouse, we have our own management systems that we follow when we are taking care of these broilers. So what we do when we get these chicks on day 1, we weigh them from our breeders. We weigh them and find out what weight are they at. And usually the recommended weight would be between 39 to 40 grams. So after we get those chicks, usually to help them adjust to this new environment as a new baby is, we usually give them some vitamins in their water to help them to stay awake, to eat more, to get used to, accustomed to the new lighting and the environment that they are in. So this vitamin is like an adrenaline shock to their bodies that helps them to just keep active and keep eating. Otherwise, if you do not give them that booster on that first day, you might find most of them sleeping and they would probably sleep on each other and you would end up having very high mortalities on that day. And then from there, we keep on monitoring them. And on the 7th day, when we see those weights, it will determine how many days we'll be able to sell our birds at. It will give us a push to see how much more food should we add in. It will give us a push to see, can we go on? Can these chicks make it to the 35 days that we want them to go to and hit the target weight that we want? So after the 7th day, we'll measure again when they make 2 weeks. And we'll measure again when they make 3 weeks, and we'll measure again when they make 4 weeks, until the 5th week when we sell them off. But in between there also as well, the other thing that we do is the vaccination, which is very critical when you're raising broiler chicken. At around 10 days, we do a vaccination of the chicks. It is called the Gomboro vaccine. The layer people do it, the crailers, regardless of which type of chicken you're doing, you'll have to do this form of vaccination. From the Gomboro vaccination, then we'll do what they call the Newcastle vaccination. This Newcastle vaccine is also done at day 1. When we look at our feed, the first thing that we usually look at is how far will this feed take our chicken. At week 1, we tend to give these chicks a feed called the pre-starter. And this pre-starter is given for about it will be given to about 5 days or 4 days, depending on, because it is very expensive, some people may give it up to 3 days. So this feed is very good because it helps in the development of critical organs of the bird, like the lungs and the hearts and the bones. So this feed has to be very good and from a very good supplier. So because we measure our birds weekly or on a daily basis in the first week, we are able to see if this pre-starter is not very good as soon as the 2nd day. After the pre-starter feed, on the 5th day, we tend to move them to what they call the starter feed. And this starter feed still will give you a certain weight. So from that 5th day to the 7th day, you will see if your birds were performing well when you were giving them the pre-starter. You realize that if the feed wasn't good, from the 5th to the 7th day, you'll see the percentage weight has still dropped. And at 7 days, our target weight should be 193 grams. But because the starter feed sometimes we use is very good, I can testify that sometimes we have hit close to 200 grams at week 1. And I can also testify that because the starter feed wasn't good at week 1, we have been as low as 120 grams. Now in the 2nd week, you can still continue on that starter feed, and by the end of the 2nd week, these birds should have still doubled further in their weight, and they will probably give you close to 500 grams at the end of the 2nd week. And then from the 2nd to the 3rd week, that is when we usually transition from the starter feed, and now we give them what we call the grower feed. this is usually a more protein-based feed that we give them. So during these weeks, from the second to the third week, we are mainly trying to build the body, so they will usually put on so much weight during that period. And from between the second to the third week, our target would be close to 1 kilogram during that time. From the third to the fourth week, we would still be looking at the same target of still mainly building the fat and getting them to put on a very big body. So we'd still continue with the grower feed, and at that point, the bird should have hit 1.5 kilograms. So after hitting that 1.5 kilograms at the fourth week, we'll now shift and move to our finisher feed. Now, because it is good and healthy for human consumption, we don't want this broiler bird to only be filled with fat, because this is something that human beings will also consume in turn. So in that moment, we'll then give them the finisher feed, which will help them to cut down on their fat content and make the meat lean and suitable for human consumption. And that time, we don't want so much. That feed does not contain a lot of protein. It is just basically to help the body to grow stronger and to grow the bones and to get them to be, just to get good quality meat for human consumption. And it is within that period that we'll then sell on our birds to our suppliers. And that time, our target weight will be between 1.9 to 2 kilograms. At Chisatchi Farmhouse, what we mainly look at in terms of our cost, we would want to spend between 10,000 to 11,000 on per bird to be able to maximize our profits.
NSSF, a better life.